Welcome back to These Tackle Box. We're out here packaging up stuff to send out, getting some lures done, wrapped up, and we figured we'd take a minute to talk to you about a specific question that I've had, sent to me via emails and text messages. Some people just send me pictures and ask me what's up with these lures. Well, we are referring to when you find this type of lures and you're wondering, why would I want to pay for that? Well, everybody has their own thing. A lot of guys out there collect this stuff. Some of them look for these mummy looking lures, and I am one of them. So if you guys have some you want to get rid of, or you want to trade up to something you can use, these are eventually going to disassemble and you'll have a pile of parts and some dust. But let's talk about the early plastics, and not just my favorite brand, but there's also other brands that were working at that time that made some of these plastic lures early on, late 1930s, and they started with the trial and errors type. In the case of Hedden, we learned that in the beginning of their switching from the wood to the plastics, they actually, I think it was a company out of Tennessee that made this formula for the plastics, and it was a plastic fusion of different chemicals and different components, and it was called a Tenite plastic. Tenite, Tenite. Well, that was what gave birth to these type of lures that were semi-transparent, and they called them flesh-looking lures, or transparent flesh-looking lures. A lot of these lures, like this one here, is an earlier one, but not as early as the ones that we're going to show you here in a minute. So take a minute, sit back, and just let's take a look at these lures, okay? We got a couple set up here for you guys so y'all can see more or less what I'm talking about as far as the progression of decomposition of these lures. So let's take a look at a couple of them here that I have. This one here is an old Hedden River Run Spook. That's all it says on the belly. Hedden River Run Spook. And you can notice the hardware. We talked about that in the last episode. Well, this one here is not very deteriorated, as you can tell. It still has a good shape. The body's still the shape of the river run. You can identify it by looking at it. This was in the perch color, but it's an early plastic lure by Hedden after the wood ones, and just before they finalized their good product when it came to the early plastics. Take a look at this one. See the shape and the condition? Let me move you on to another one here. Same hardware. Another river run. This one would be a sinker in the black shore. A color that everybody recognizes everywhere, and a lot of companies used it, not just Hedden. But this one here, look, you can start to see how the head starts to shrink and look different from the body. You see the tapering there? That's where the seam came in for the molds and things like that. So when they made this lure, this seam right here, you can tell where it interacted with the rest of the body, and you can see where it started to deteriorate at this piece first, and this piece is still intact. Again, late 30s, early 40s, trial and error by Hedden on this case. And it's an awesome thing though, because most of these lures are still complete, but some of them, like I'm going to show you in a minute, have just given up. This guy here, let's see what this is. We can't even see the words and stuff on there anymore, but it looks like a maybe a floater. Yeah, you can't see anything on there. But this one here, and my daughter said that this guy looks like a little puppy from the face, because it's a little bit more rounded. It just looks different, but it's got the same type of hardware. You can see the hooks, it's all original. And you can see the indentations all over the body. So when you find these lures, yeah, a lot of people look at them and they're like, oh, there's no way I'm going to pay for that. And that's understandable, because nobody wants to be left with a shelf full of dust and rusty hooks. But this is just early examples of, once again, early plastic in production in efforts to change everything from wood to plastic. There was a lot of companies out there trying the same thing. Here goes another one. This one here, you can see even the gold eyes turned green. Now I get a lot of people asking me about, why are the eyes not gold? They're supposed to be gold. Well, guys, when you look into that, the oxidation from the humidity on these gold colors from the paint back then reacted, and it leaves them just like that. If you put some brass where it gets wet and moist, you'll see the same effect on some of them. So this right here is an early one too. This one had I believe it had the same type of hardware, but it's missing it because it started to fall off. You see, this is a little sinker, and you can tell there, you can see real close there how bad this one has gotten. Deteriorated at a faster rate. Maybe it was stored in the wrong box or somewhere where it got wet and stored and it didn't get put away dry. So you get to see that example there. Here we got another a floater. Now this looks like the other one that I showed you, but look at the nose on this one. See how this one has a blunt nose and this one has a sharp nose? The deterioration rate and a lot of the effects that changed the lure all depended on how they were stored, how they were cleaned, how they were kept. Look at this. This guy's actually bubbling up hard and opening up, splitting open. You know, if you still take care of them, you might have a lure there for a while, but sooner or later you're gonna start seeing the pieces come off, and well, just save the hardware. I guess I could tell you, at least that would be worth something. Here goes another one. This is your Head River Run sinker, I believe. Now that's pretty bad, right? I got paid like $5 or $8 for this sucker, but I like them. If, like I said, if you guys have any of these and you want to trade up for, I don't know, something you can use, bombers, other head and lures that you can fish with, newer stuff, I got a bunch of lures, so we can always do something. So I look forward to hearing from some of you guys about that. Here is the one that I showed y'all earlier. This one is a special one because it had this scoop lip, but same problem. Bubbled up, about to bust open, and it's got the same type of hardware. And then that hardware right there is probably most likely going to be found on most of them, because I believe they ran this type of stuff for a little while, and then they figured out we got to do something better. Probably not right then and there, but they made something better happen that made the river runs and those vamps and all that kind of stuff a lot better as far as quality goes. Now this one here is my favorite, and it's an awesome piece, but bam, check this out. Completely gone, man. I got all the hooks and the hardware. It was sitting in a box and it just started falling apart when I got it, and it got to the point where everything's gone now. So this is what you end up with at the end of this, and from here it just kind of deteriorates into crumbled plastic tonight, little pile of powder there. I guess you can put it in an urn and put it away, or just toss it in your box. So anyways, you guys have a good day. I just wanted to run these by you. It's an awesome little piece of history. Now you guys know a little bit about when you see those lures. There's other brands, like I said, that also come up like that. So if you find them, if you see them, and you pick them up cheap and you want to do something with them, holler at your boy.